curious to know if you think, in general terms, the issue that divided the North and the South was slavery. We'll use that as an example. Are there current issues that deal with rights today that we're facing? I know secession might not be the answer, but I mean, can you elaborate on some current day examples that might be reflective of that era that we're still facing today?
Well, currently in California, we have an issue over water. The Northern California provides much of the water for the highly populated Southern California. And with the drought that the North is facing currently, we can see this issue of water and who supplies and who receives the water as becoming a divisive issue between the Northern and Southern California. And I think this issue could be remedied by trying to find new sources of water that could supply Southern California with its water supply.
I think another area that we are still focusing on today is the issue of citizenship. Although the 14th Amendment created this idea of citizenship, many people still feel that because you are able to illegally immigrate here and have your children be American citizens, that is not necessarily the right way to go about gaining American citizenship. And so, although the 14th Amendment might have solved this issue, people are still debating about whether or not citizenship should be changed to the principle of jus sanguinis, where one of your parents has to be a legal citizen of the United States before you can gain citizenship.
I think from a minority rights perspective, a major conflict in the United States today is same-sex marriage. And with the passage in California of Proposition 8 by more than 51% of the population in California, you can see that it seems as if it's a majoritarian rule against a minority right. And I think this is very similar to the slavery issue with the North and the South, except I think it's drawn more on less geographical lines. I think that this is a very moral issue that some people will take religious offense to, and that this problem within morality and religious values is severely dividing our country.
And I think especially with the example that Hannah just gave, we can see examples of outside entities and other states that might want to not see such ideas passed through law, funding money and sending in all this capital to help defeat it. I mean, we could draw back to Bloody Kansas when these other states were trying to sneak into Kansas and vote against whether or not slavery should be legal in the state.
One of the major differences between now and the time of the Civil War is the Civil War had very strong regional differences. It was very sectional. It was a lot of sectionalism. And today we have far less regional differences. Though the South is generally viewed as more Republican, a recent Gallup poll found that there are only 5 or 6 states that are identified as strongly Republican, a large majority of the population that identifies as Republican, and a small minority Democrat. And these states are littered throughout the western area, such as Utah, Montana, and Idaho. There aren't these strong sectional differences today as there were in the Civil War.
I wanted to ask a question about it. If we say that there is a right to secede and that states or a country split by secession, how should government be structured to allow for that? What would be the process to go to the Constitution of Bosnia? Just like, can you give me an example of how you would set it up?
I believe that in those cases, there would have to be such strong, irreconcilable differences that both parties would both agree that it is for the best common good for each party that they separate. And because in most cases this isn't how it works, because normally it's one party thinks that it feels as if they're being oppressed or that their rights aren't being heard, and they use John Locke's theory of that social contract to alter or abolish their government. However, normally, because of mostly economic reasons, secession strips away some economic prosperity from the nation in general. And so it's not always within the best interest of both parties to have this peaceful secession.
I think that if a state were to want to secede today, there would need to be an amendment process. And that first the federal government, the Congress, would have to propose this amendment. And then it'd have to be ratified by all of the states. It would have to be mutually agreed on by both parties, because as we stated in our testimony, that the Confederacy believed that it was a compact between the federal government and the state government. So this idea of federalism, where both parties are going to have to come to a conclusion and decide together whether or not secession is right for the state.
In Texas v. White, 1868, Justice Samuel Chase, writing for the majority, says that secession secession could be allowed if all of the states consent to it. And with this decision in mind, I would propose that if a state wants to secede, they first submit a proposal to Congress, in which Congress then approves by a 2/3 majority of both houses. Congress then, if it passes, it then goes to the states. And all 3/4 of the states at least have to say that the state may secede and that it is okay. And it is that with the consent of not only the states, but Congress, you have all branches of government working together to allow this state to leave. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go first. Wow. Phil, it was no surprise to you that you enjoyed that. I was just writing another question again. I had absolutely no concept of time. Then there was about 30 minutes left. We can still talk with you. So thank you for being engaged and giving your time and your work into for doing this. I thought your opening statement was incredibly very responsive to your question, very well balanced. You stated that some of you felt this way, some of you felt that way, but that you both, even within those opinions, address the other side. So I do appreciate that. It's a hallmark for you, the program, and something we very much do take into consideration. You hesitated on my question about the modern secessionist movement, which about 45 seconds later became absolutely unclear as to why, because you knew the answer to the question, and you just built on each other. That was really neat to see. So all I would say, and I'm nitpicking here because it was such a good performance, is don't hesitate. You obviously all knew that. You went from Russians and Bosnia to Quebec to, and then just for 3 minutes gave us a wonderful example that had historical application, constitutional application, participation, responsiveness, all those things you scored on. So just don't hesitate. And I know it's tough, it's the afternoon, but don't leave anything here, because obviously you had that. And thank you very much for that. Just saying good luck.
Thank you. Agreed. I won't elaborate anymore because pretty much summed up my opinions there. But with regards to my specific question on current day issues that would be relative, I really started off with the water, and I was kind of like, I was wondering how that was timed back to the rights, because I was kind of focused on like the rights, but your issue is, it kind of sparked my interest, like, that is a different perspective. And when you brought up citizenship, that was something I haven't heard today, which I appreciated. And I appreciate that you brought up, again, the constitutional application of the 14th Amendment and how this issue is still being debated. And I like that you gave me an example of how it's being debated, of, that they want to have a parent be a legal citizen before their child can be. I mean, it just kind of developed that conversation to the next level instead of just name dropping it. And again, same-sex marriage, it's definitely the current hot topic of California. And I really appreciated how multiple of you jumped in on that, and you supported it. You kind of elevated to the next level and brought in that other states had an interest in this. It wasn't just a California issue. It kind of supported that idea of a perpetuity that regardless if there are dissenting viewpoints on both sides, that states will join together to make a difference. And I won't elaborate on the other answers, but I thought your responses were really interesting, and I appreciated the constitutional application. And as far as next steps, it's so hard because the only thing I would say is let's ask more questions.
Yeah.
But you guys did a great job. Thank you.
Yeah, it was already hard, and there's still a lot of the thunder. With the opening, you hit a lot of it, on the question, and then also some prayers and response questions, and you answer them before you ask them help. So it's always good. I think that your examples, the international examples, but then when I came back, you had strong opinions, and so when I came back and asked you about this right to see how we were today, I like that you had time prepared, that you thought about it,